Most people collect financial books the same way they collect good intentions. They buy what is popular, what is recommended, what appears on bestseller lists, and what promises transformation in the shortest time possible. Over time, shelves fill up, but clarity does not. Serious books about learning and wealth begin by pointing out a quiet truth. Reading more does not automatically make you wiser. Reading with intention does. A personalized wealth bookshelf is not a display of ambition. It is a reflection of where you are, what you need to understand next, and what mistakes you are most likely to make. Books that explore lifelong learning emphasize that the right book at the wrong time is often useless, while a modest book at the right moment can permanently alter direction. Books on learning and mastery stress the importance of sequencing. Understanding money begins with behavior, not strategy. Mindset precedes mechanics. Cash flow precedes investing. Risk management precedes returns. A personalized bookshelf mirrors this order. It does not rush the reader into complexity before foundations are stable. Another recurring insight is that confusion often comes from mixing incompatible ideas too early. Reading aggressive entrepreneurship books alongside conservative wealth preservation books without context creates internal conflict. Serious learning literature recommends coherence over volume. A good bookshelf speaks in phases, not contradictions. These books also highlight that learning should be diagnostic. What you read should solve a problem you are currently facing, not one you hope to face someday. If spending feels out of control, books on advanced investing will not help. If fear dominates decisions, books on technical strategy will not calm it. A personalized bookshelf begins with honest self-assessment. Another powerful idea is that books play different roles at different stages. Some books build foundation. Others challenge assumptions. Some refine judgment. Others slow you down. Curating your learning means understanding why each book is on your shelf, not just what it contains. Books that linger unread are often signals of misalignment, not laziness. Wealth-focused learning books also emphasize the danger of passive consumption. Reading without reflection creates the illusion of progress. Highlighting without application creates intellectual clutter. A personalized bookshelf is active. It invites rereading. Certain books are returned to repeatedly not because they are exciting, but because their lessons deepen as experience grows. Another recurring theme is that financial learning should evolve with responsibility. Early-stage learners need simplicity and encouragement. Later-stage learners need restraint and skepticism. Books that once felt inspiring may later feel naive. This is not regression. It is growth. A healthy bookshelf changes over time. These books also challenge the idea that there is a universal best financial book list. What works for one person may mislead another. Risk tolerance, income, stability, personality, and life stage all influence what knowledge is useful. A personalized bookshelf respects individuality. It filters advice through context rather than authority. Another insight appears around balance. Wealth learning is not only about money. Psychology, history, ethics, and systems thinking matter. Books that broaden perspective often improve financial judgment indirectly. A narrow bookshelf produces narrow decisions. A diverse bookshelf builds resilience of thought. Books on learning also emphasize repetition. The most important financial lessons are simple and uncomfortable. They need to be encountered multiple times from different angles before they are internalized. A curated bookshelf allows for reinforcement rather than constant novelty. Another lesson concerned speed. The urge to catch up leads many readers to skim endlessly. Serious learners slow down. They allow one book to influence behavior before moving on. Depth replaces speed. This patience mirrors wealth building itself. These books also highlight the role of friction. Not every book should feel easy. Some should challenge beliefs. Some should unsettle comfort. A personalized bookshelf includes tension, but not chaos. Growth requires discomfort, but not confusion. Over time, readers who curate intentionally notice a shift. Reading becomes calmer, less urgent, more selective. Books stop competing for attention. Each one earns its place. Learning feels purposeful rather than compulsive. Another important insight is that learning should anticipate future mistakes. A good bookshelf does not only explain success, it explains failure. It prepares the reader for boredom, overconfidence, panic, and doubt. These are the moments when judgment breaks. Books that normalize these phases become anchors. Books on wisdom also emphasize synthesis. Eventually, reading shifts from gathering ideas to integrating them. Contradictions are resolved. Principles emerge. The bookshelf stops growing rapidly and starts stabilizing. Fewer books, deeper understanding. A personalized wealth bookshelf also reflects maturity in how authority is treated. Early on, authors feel powerful. Later, ideas matter more than names. Readers extract frameworks rather than follow prescriptions. This independence is a sign of learning, not arrogance. As the process continues, something subtle changes. The bookshelf becomes a mirror. It shows not just what you know, but how you think. Gaps become visible. Biases reveal themselves. Learning becomes self-correcting. And this is where the story begins to narrow. Because once learning is understood not as consumption, but as curation, the relationship with books changes. You stop asking what everyone else is reading and start asking what you need next. Knowledge becomes tailored rather than borrowed. Progress becomes quieter, but more durable. And your bookshelf stops being a symbol of aspiration and starts becoming a working tool, one that evolves with you, guides decisions, and protects you from repeating the same mistakes in increasingly expensive ways, like a living system rather than a static collection. And this is where books about learning, wisdom, and wealth converge on their most practical conclusion. In the second half of this journey, the idea of a personalized wealth bookshelf shifts from selection to integration. Authors emphasize that the real value of reading appears only when books begin to talk to each other inside your mind. Contradictions resolve into principles. Repetition reveals importance. Over time, the bookshelf stops expanding outward and starts deepening inward. One of the clearest lessons these books offer is that learning must eventually move from acquisition to application. A bookshelf that never influences behavior becomes intellectual decor. Serious learners notice when reading changes how they budget, invest, negotiate, or delay gratification. When no behavioral shift follows, it is a signal to slow down, reread, or simplify, not to add more books. These books also stress the importance of revisiting. The same book read at 20, 30, or 50 feels like a different text. Life experience activates passages that once seemed abstract. A personalized bookshelf keeps certain titles close, not because they are trendy, but because they mature alongside the reader. Rereading becomes a form of calibration. Another powerful insight concerns pruning. Just as investors rebalance portfolios, learners must rebalance their shelves. Books that once served their purpose may need to be retired. Letting go of outdated frameworks is a sign of growth, not disloyalty. A refined bookshelf reflects discernment, the courage to stop listening to voices that no longer apply. These books also highlight the role of synthesis tools, notes, margins, summaries, teaching others, writing reflections. Learning consolidates when ideas are expressed, not merely absorbed. A personalized bookshelf becomes most effective when it feeds a personal system of thinking, one that captures principles in your own language and applies them to your own decisions. Another recurring theme is emotional regulation. At different moments, you need different kinds of books. In periods of fear, you need stability and perspective. In periods of confidence, you need restraint and skepticism. Curating your learning means anticipating your emotional cycles and placing the right voices nearby before you need them. The books also caution against outsourcing judgment. A personalized bookshelf should reduce dependence on gurus, not deepen it. As learning matures, readers extract frameworks rather than follow prescriptions. They stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What principle applies here?" This transition marks intellectual independence. Over time, your bookshelf becomes predictive, not of markets, but of behavior. You recognize which ideas calm you, which tempt you into excess, and which ground you in reality. This self-awareness is itself a form of wealth. It prevents repeating mistakes simply because a persuasive book made them sound attractive again. As the journey concludes, the authors return to a quiet but profound realization. Wealth is not built by reading the most books. It is built by becoming the kind of person who can apply a few timeless ideas consistently across changing circumstances. A personalized bookshelf is the scaffolding for that transformation, and so the lesson resolves. Curating your own wealth bookshelf is not about collecting answers. It is about building a thinking environment that evolves with you, one that challenges you when you are complacent, steadies you when you are afraid, and reminds you of first principles when noise is loudest. When learning is treated this way, books stop competing for attention and start cooperating toward clarity. If this reflection resonated with you, pause and ask yourself a simple question. Which book on your shelf has already taught you enough, but you have not yet acted on? Start there. Share what this made you reconsider. And if you want to continue exploring how thoughtful learning shapes durable wealth and better decisions, subscribe and stay connected. Because the most valuable library is not the one you own. It is the one that quietly changes how you live.